It's
Welcome
at the
to
music. Zach, you look different.
Yeah, well, I got a new job.
Because you've been looking.
Yeah, I've been looking.
So, what do you do?
Oh, I am the new presenter of At the Music.
Well, it's funny you should mention that because I run Golden Plains. First up, Brisbane artist MKO's son, who sounds a lot like FKA Twigs, a little bit like UB40, and not at all like LL Cool J. But Zach, is MKO's new album Opus Opalus a knockout?
Pretty good. It certainly packs a punch. Mm-hmm. She has really wonderful pop arrangements to new age, modern, 21st century R&B. Mm-hmm. For something that's a very poppy record, I think that she is like quite experimental in her like arrangements and her choice. It's a really nice sounding record. I don't know who produced it, but it's really beautiful. There's just some really interesting kind of structural choices. She doesn't skimp on the melodies the way so many pop artists do, where they grab like the sound of now, but don't actually, have the zizz to go with the zazz, Whereas MKO's son has got plenty of zizz with that zazz. The last track on the record is just like really catchy. I think it's called like Without You or something, but it's spelt all funky. And it's this really catchy tune with this really funky bass line, this like jazzy piano, but there's no beat for like the first 3 minutes. It's one thing to have a song with no, like an R&B track with no beat that is just like an ambient number or like a ballad. But this is kind of a dancey number, but the beat's just not there. It does eventually come in, and I was a bit like, oh, she brought it in, she should have held off.
The production isn't like as slick as, say, Kalala's new EP, but it is a bit more interesting, a little bit more, as you said, counterintuitive. And there's kind of like a bit of a modern Nene Cherry vibe I got, like these sort of quite dark beats, but with that full-on 90s R&B neo song. Apparently it's about her father that passed away.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so I think it's a brilliant tribute to him.
I think it's a great record. I'm going to give it a well-deserved 4 Zacks.
And that's 4 Zacks from me too.
Tom and Jerry, Israel and Palestine, jazz and electronic music, enemies or friends, according to Floating Point's debut album. But Matt, come on.
I think it's really good. It's not quite what I think I was expecting, possibly because I've been listening to a lot of like left field electronica these days. This has no glitches in it. No glitches, no really ostentatious production work. It's more just like great electronics, great synthesis, great sort of break beats, I imagine, or is it live drumming? I'm not quite sure.
It is live drumming.
Yeah.
He's actually classically trained.
Okay,
He's
so
a music school
there you
kid,
go.
so he's playing a lot of those keys and pianos, I think.
Yeah, so quite virtuosic. It's really quite pretty and nice and orchestral and soundtracky.
Yeah, well, he said that his major influence on the record was Talk Talk.
Okay.
Who you and me are both
mildly obsessed with.
Yeah, pretty intensely obsessed with that.
Yeah.
Is it actually benefiting for the fact that it's both jazzy and electronic, or is it just like, rudimentarily winning over a jazz crowd for being able to say that they're into electronic music, and at the same time winning over the electronic music crowd who are like, oh, it's so sophisticated, Tried to get over that.
2 easy victories, I think, as well.
Yeah, 2 very easy victories. And I think to some extent the hype does come from that. Like, I don't think it's a masterpiece so much as it is just a very, very nice record from an obviously like classically trained and talented producer.
Yeah, he knows that he makes a story. Every song there's like 7 or 8 tracks, and they all just build and ebb and flow very beautifully.
Yeah, but I think it's certainly the first step as his debut album in what could be a really great career. Like if he gets more experimental on his later records, he could, really kill it. I'm going to give the Floating Points debut album Elaenia 4 Zacks.
And it's very boring, but yes, the same for me. So 4 Zacks in a row. Zack. From us today.
That's 4 Zacks.
That's 16 Zacks. Get it in your skull. higher.
That's Elaenia.
Very dense beard.